Hey there, hi there, ho there. What's up? Colton doing Testarossa Rants 11 here. Caught some flack on the last Testarossa Rants for saying the Beatles suck. But sometimes the truth hurts. The Beatles still suck. It was partly a joke, but a joke that's honest. Anyway, I'm here to give you some music today that you should listen to. You should listen to all these albums in their entirety. They're wonderful albums. So here's 10 albums that don't suck. We'll start doing some music recommendations because I feel like there's a lot of artists that don't get the recognition they deserve, like Testarossa. Don't get the recognition they deserve and are overshadowed by a far inferior product. So let's get started. First album right here, Bullet Boys, self-titled. They had a minor hit with Smooth Up In You. It was a good song, but this whole album's solid as can be. On the back you got a nice little sunrise picture. It's a good album. My favorite songs: F Number 9, Ode to Joe, Hard as a Rock, Kissin' Kitty. Like, the whole album was good. And it was produced by Ted Templeman, Van Halen. They got written off as like a second-rate Van Halen because of Mark Torian. You know, he was kind of like a David Lee Roth type frontman, a little more flamboyant, believe it or not. The guitar player, Mick Sweeta, he never got the credit he deserves. Killer guitar solos, completely out of the box playing, killer riffs. I don't know why this one's so overlooked. But Bullet Boys, self-titled. Their second album, Freak Show's really good. It's a little more progressive in its direction. And Zaza is a good album, and that's really kind of a departure from this. I guess trying to separate themselves from being a Van Halen clone, so to speak. Their first three albums are all worth listening to. Zaza's not mixed very good. That's the only reason I don't listen to it a whole lot. The mixing suffers. But yeah, Bullet Boys, check it out. This album right here was one of the first records I got on vinyl. Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts. This is when Joe Perry and Brad Whitford were leaving the band. They're still pictured on the cover. When I bought this album at a pawn shop when I was in middle school, I didn't know any of the songs, so I didn't know what to expect. This album's, and Rockin' a Hard Place is a good album too, but this album's been run into the ground by critics. You know, everybody hates it. But listen to this album, it's actually very good. You got them being little minors on the back. Look at Steven Tyler looking all feminine. But yeah, this is Aerosmith at their low point, personnel-wise, so to speak. But the songs are good. Cheesecake, 3 Mile Smile, No Surprise, Reefer-Headed Woman. Man, even though it don't have any, like, hits, so to speak, this album's very solid. It's very listenable, very Aerosmith. It's before Aerosmith went, you know, bubblegum. I like bubblegum Aerosmith, but this is like along the lines of Rocks, Draw the Line, right on the brink of changing. So, Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts. Now this album right here, it's got pretty good critical acclaim. Cult Electric, mixed by Rick Rubin. The production on it is very unique. I like it. It's very different. Very dry though, which is a departure from everything else that was coming out at the time. Every song on here is good. They're just firing on all cylinders. The Cult. I like this better than their earlier work where they're trying to be all gothic and stuff, but this is just a straight up rock and roll album, you know, like just some power chords and yeah, a good time. Electric Ocean, Bad Fun, Of course, Wildflowers, my favorite song on there. Aphrodisiac Jacket. The low point on this album is their cover of Born to Be Wild. They could have left that off, and it would have been a perfect album as far as I'm concerned. Very good riffs. Open it up. Got the gatefold. Got a lot of pictures on the back. Go. Look at those chops right there. Those are some proper sideburns. Very good album. I think I like it better than Sonic Temple, but Sonic Temple's very good too. The Cult Electric. Now this album right here is another one that critics snubbed, but it is Rat's best work, Detonator. Desmond Child came in and helped write some songs, and the production on it's very good. The production's top notch. This is like as good as it gets production wise. The songs are way more mature than early Rat. I know everybody says early Rat, like Invasion of Your Privacy is their best. No. Those songs are terrible, straight up doo-doo compared to this album. This album's listenable front to back. I listened to this and the Bullet Boys self-titled album in middle school non-stop all the way through. Every morning going to school, have my headphones on, listening to these two albums. Giving Yourself Away, One Step Away, Shame, Shame, Shame. Guitar playing's awesome. Warren DeMartini is one of my favorite guitar players from that era. You know, highly, criminally underrated. Such a great album. So much better than their other stuff. Reach for the Sky is a close second, but this just so much more mature sounding. I don't know why people get so mad when a band, you know, matures and starts writing better songs and get some help from really good songwriters. Rat, Detonator. Alright, here's an album you may have not heard of. A band called Smash Gladys. Social Intercourse. First time I heard these guys and gal, they got a female front singer, front man, front woman. First time I heard them, I thought it was a dude singing. And I was like, dude, that dude has a crazy voice. Turns out that dude was a girl. This is like, sort of like a female Guns N' Roses meets AC/DC type vibe. Just straight up rock and roll. Then on the back, yep, that's a girl in the middle. No, it's hard to tell, but yeah, Social Intercourse. 17 going on crazy, hard to swallow, lick it into shape, legs up. Very sleazy. Very good album, very solid. Highly recommend it. They actually had another album, forgot the name of it, but it was a bunch of the same songs, just like early versions, kind of like a demos thing, or I guess it was like a self-produced EP, but this, they really polished it up and got it running how it should be. And this is a solid album. Still listen to it on the reg. Smash Gladys, Social Intercourse. Check it out. Alright, here we go. Graham Parsons, Grievous Angel. As you can see, I got a killer deal on it. But, yeah. This is the guy the Rolling Stones wanted to be. They hung out with him. He did crazy drugs and wrote some really good songs. I just recommend anything he did. Unfortunately, his life is pretty tragic if you haven't looked into his life. So he's worth reading about. And he wrote some good songs. I mean, it's just old school country, kind of folky rock. He was like the first like country rock star, kind of. He wore the nudie suits. He was the real deal. Like I said, the Rolling Stones wanted to be him. I like Cash on the Barrelhead. That's a good song. But he's just underrated songwriter. Nobody knows about him. The story of his death and his body getting stolen by his manager and stuff. It's pretty wild. Highly recommend people checking this out. And also, Emmylou Harris sings backing vocals on a lot of his stuff. So, you know the backing vocals are definitely good. Check out any of his stuff. Graham Parsons. Hasn't been anyone like him since. Okay. Here's another oddball. Johnny Diesel and the Injectors. What a cheesy name, but this album is solid. It's kind of like Canada's was Bryan Adams from Canada? I don't know. He's from Canada. It's kind of like a Bryan Adams vibe, you know, modern for the times, but like just straight up rock, but a little more on the radio friendly side. But the songs are still good, and he plays guitar very well. I mean, Crying Shame is an awesome song. Soul Revival, I Don't Need Love. This album right here, highly recommend. And last time I checked, it wasn't on iTunes, so I had to buy it on CD to get it on my phone. Highly worth it. This album is so good. It's, like I said, it's got a Bryan Adams vibe, but it's a little bit different. And he actually plays, like, the guitar. He's quite the guitar player. Very good album. There you go on the back. Johnny Diesel and the Injectors. This next band right here, Gene Simmons, you know, found these guys and produced this. Easy-O. Japanese, as you will see. Yeah. Pretty wild. Very talented musicians. Japanese people trying to play American-style rock. Very proficient in their instruments. The songs are actually very good. House of a Thousand Pleasures got some airplay. Flashback Heart Attack is probably my favorite song. Mr. Midnight's good. It's a very good 80s metal album, and the guitar playing it's killer. It's good. It's just worth a listen. This also is not on iTunes or YouTube or anything, so you got to buy it on CD if you can find it, or vinyl. It's kind of a hard album to get. Should have been bigger than some of the American bands, honestly. If you could get past the Japanese, English speech impediments, it's very good, very entertaining. Gene Simmons thought it was good enough to record them, so Easy-O, and that's Easy-O. And it was on Geffen Records at the time, which is pretty big deal. Okay. This one right here, this is a reissue. I seen Zakk Wylde is selling these again, thank goodness, because the original was getting pricey and I couldn't afford it. But here we go. Pride and Glory, Pride and Glory. Now what's this, you ask? Zakk Wylde's out there playing with Ozzy, doing all that metal nonsense. And he decides he wants to do a Southern rock three-piece with James Lomenzo and Brian Tichy. So he's got like White Lions rhythm section, and it's Zakk Wylde playing guitar and singing, and they're doing Southern rock. Yeah. If you haven't heard this, you need to buy this album. I think it's back up on iTunes. It was pulled down for a while. It's Zakk Wylde doing Southern rock. Who doesn't want to hear it? Here's your back cover. And currently, this is reissued, so you could go to Zakk Wylde's Instagram and click the link. And this is actually a picture disc. I hate picture discs, but I will say the quality of this is very good. It doesn't affect the sound quality, but Pride and Glory. This, I wish Zakk Wylde would go back on tour with Pride and Glory, because this is like peak Zakk Wylde. This is when his voice was like perfect. His guitar playing wasn't too over the top. He wasn't sounding like Ozzy when he sings. So good, so different, very off the wall. The original one came on green vinyl, which I'm still looking for one, but at the right price. But Machine Gun Man, killer song, Harvester of Pain, Troubled Wine, Towing the Line. Very good, very, very, very good. I highly recommend all of these albums, really, but this one especially. Zakk Wylde, Pride and Glory, Pride and Glory, very good. I wish he would go back on tour with Pride and Glory. I would pay an arm and a leg to see that. And last on today's list, so I can keep it somewhat short, Black Oak, Arkansas, X-rated. Black Oak, Arkansas, their earlier works especially, kind of an acquired taste. Jim Dandy is kind of out there, but he was David Lee Roth before David Lee Roth. He's who inspired David Lee Roth. He's who inspired Vince Neil. And recently I've noticed some people kind of giving him some credit, but for a while there, nobody even knew who he was anymore, which is a shame, because Black Oak, Arkansas in the 70s were touring machines. They were one of the top 5 grossing bands of the 70s, and they were good. Their first albums were good, but I personally like it towards the end of the 70s when they had a few lineup changes and they started developing their sound a little more. I like it when a band matures, and this right here is like peak Black Oak, Arkansas for me. It's not the Black Oak, Arkansas a lot of people talk about and praise, but it's Black Oak, Arkansas with killer guitar playing. Tommy Aldridge on drums. I mean, Tommy Aldridge, just raunch and roll, X-rated. The album's not X-rated, but they were known for raunch and roll. So Black Oak, Arkansas, X-rated. My favorite songs: Fighting Cock, you know, Highway Pirate, Strong Enough to Be Gentle. Just this whole album's good. Too Hot to Stop. And there they are on the back. There's Tommy Aldridge. And there's Jim Dandy. So this is what paved the way for Axl Rose, David Lee Roth, Vince Neil, all the front man, Jim Dandy. He did it first. So yeah, there's some albums I highly recommend listening that don't suck, and maybe I'll do some more sometime. Later, fools.